Well, you just heard Kristen say a few moments ago that we are getting ready for one heck of a cold and windy day.
Yeah, in fact, it could be so windy today, it's going to be to that point where it is almost dangerous. We've sent News 13's David Romero out in the middle of it in downtown Albuquerque. And David, what you're getting right now is really just a taste of things to come, right?
Pretty much, Matt. As you can see just by my script right here, it's barely kind of wiggling. And that means, of course, that the wind gusts are mild right now down here at Broadcast Plaza. Take a look at downtown behind me. That's where it's going to get worse throughout the day, of course. And as Kristen was just telling us, we're already seeing gusts maybe somewhere in that low 20-mile-per-hour range. Now, we are under the high wind warning from 6 this morning until 6 tonight. During the days when it's expected to get bad. Now, the peak gusts could hit parts of the metro area for 50-mile-per-hours plus. And that makes it a good time to warn area homeowners if you have any loose furniture or Christmas lights and decorations that you haven't taken down. If you have a chance before 10 this morning, you might want to run outside and grab them before they're blown down the street. The other warning we want to pass along to you, as we've been saying throughout the broadcast this morning, is for drivers going along the I-25 corridor. That's because this is another key thing that meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke passed along to me this morning, was that the wind will be coming out of the southwest and a westerly direction. So for high-profile vehicles and such going north and south, this could put you in danger. This is especially critical for people going north towards Colorado. Once you hit Raton Pass, that's where some of the worst winds could be. Now, of course, here in the metro area, it is expected to get bad, and you want to make sure that even when you're driving here around town, that if you have a high-profile vehicle, that you watch your speed, especially going in that north to south direction. And we also know that south of Albuquerque along I-25 is where the gusts of wind really kick up a lot of loose dirt, so be careful in that area. Back to you.
All right, a lot of information there, David. Thank you very much. And be careful. When those scripts wiggle, it can be very dangerous out there. We'll check back in with you in an hour to see exactly if the wind is picking up anymore.
Yeah, so how exactly are the winds going to be? I mean, how strong are they?
Oh, they're going to be getting up to dangerous levels today. I mean, we have high wind warnings in effect now for Albuquerque, and it's for all of central New Mexico and out east, highlighted in orange there. 65 miles an hour are possible. We will see the strongest winds east of the mountains because the winds are going to be blowing from the west, and when they go over the mountains, that's when they gain that momentum. Wind advisories out west, and we're already seeing the winds pick up there. We also have winter storm warnings in effect and blizzard warnings in effect for parts of the mountains up in southern Colorado, and that's because we're going to have that wind in combination with the snow coming down, and so you can see whiteout conditions at times there. We won't see as much snow for northwestern New Mexico. We may pick up a couple of inches here or there, but we'll see several inches up in the mountains. Right now, tracking some snow out toward Grants up in the northern mountains. That's heading to the east. We'll have to watch how close it gets to Albuquerque. Wind speeds right now not that bad. They're going to pick up over the next couple of hours, and as we get closer to 10 a.m., that's when we're going to start to see those gusts up near 40, 50 miles an hour. I'll have a whole lot more on this coming up in just a few minutes.
And now to some overnight news, or one man in the hospital in Albuquerque right now in critical condition. This after getting hit by a car near ABQ Uptown. Police say the man was crossing Louisiana here about 10:30 and was not in a crosswalk or even in a well-lit area for that matter. He was badly hurt and rushed to the hospital. That's the car that police say hit him. Police have not said if the driver is going to face any charges. We now know this: a woman who used to be a police officer in a small town near Albuquerque will be allowed to keep her badge and wear it again, but just not for a little while.
We're talking about Leslie Lopez. She had her law enforcement license revoked for 4 months this week. Back in 2011, she was accused of getting onto the Bosque Farms police chief's computer and deleting her internal affairs file. She's also accused of stealing files that contained citizens' complaints against other officers, tactical plans for upcoming DWI checkpoints, and department gas receipts. Now, she was fired by Bosque Farms police and will be on probation for a year after her suspension. Now, Lopez's case happened during a bad year for the small police department. Back in 2010, the Bosque Farms officer resigned after he was accused of putting sex tapes of himself onto department computers. That's this gentleman here. The police chief also quit in 2010. He was accused of embezzling from a side job, and another officer was fired for smuggling a woman into the U.S. from Tijuana, Mexico.
District Attorney Carrie Brandenburg wants to start presenting police shootings to investigative grand juries again. Now, if you remember, she stopped doing that in May, but will start sending these cases back to the juries in March. The investigative grand juries, as they're called, can decide if a police shooting is justified, but do not have the power to indict anyone. And so you know, these grand juries have never said a police shooting is unjustified. A convicted child molester back behind bars right now, accused of having child porn, hanging out in places where a lot of kids go, and changing his name to hide the past. Federal agents say John Vandermeer downloaded child porn onto his computer last year and was arrested on those charges back in December. Plus, they say Vandermeer has been working with local theaters in Albuquerque, sometimes with kids, obviously something he's not supposed to be doing. And the agents say that Vandermeer has also been changing his last name and how it's spelled so that no one would know his past. The Albuquerque Little Theater says it did know about Vandermeer's past and kept him away from kids, but other theaters did not know about what he's done. Elizabeth?
A man accused of raping an elderly woman at an elementary school in Albuquerque is still in jail and will probably be for quite some time. That's because Francisco Perez cannot get bond. Police say he pulled a knife on a 76-year-old woman as she walked on the track at Almosa Elementary School on Thanksgiving morning and demanded $10. Now, investigators say Perez raped her after she said she had no money. More recently, police say they connected Perez's DNA to the crime by applying Katie's Law. Investigators used Perez's DNA sample when he was arrested on burglary charges. This morning, a teenager is in a heap of trouble, charged with aggravated battery, assault on a police officer, and criminal damage to property. Yesterday afternoon, police say the 16-year-old boy nearly crashed his vehicle as he ran, or nearly caused a crash, I should clarify, as he ran through Coors near Sequoia. When a Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputy got out of his car to see what was going on, the kid allegedly threw a brick, missing the deputy but hitting the car. The deputy and an APD officer managed to stop the boy. That's when they say he bit one of the officers in the hand.
Well, investigators are still trying to find out more about a human bone found in the South Valley this week. Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies say someone found that bone somewhat buried here in the ground near Bobby Foster and Broadway on Wednesday. They do know now that it is from a person, and they say they have found more bones in that area.